Good afternoon, everyone. It is just over 12 o'clock, and this is another of Western Liberty Network's recurring trainings about various things you can learn and use to be successful in politics where you live. Today, we're going to have Nicole Kalk as a guest trainer, and she's going to teach us how to correctly gather signatures on referendum petitions, and you'll have a chance to use this skill with respect to the referendum signature drive that is coming up in an attempt to refer to the ballot the transportation taxes, which were recently passed in the special legislative session. I'm going to go over a few things just before we turn it over to Nicole. First of all, by way of legal disclaimer, Western Liberty Network is a 501c3 organization. As such, we do not formally endorse or oppose any campaign legislation or anything like that. We do provide skills that people can use as they wish and ways in which to use those skills. That is what Western Liberty Network does, and I'll share a couple of things with you before we turn it over. Here is our website, Western Liberty Network's website. There are a lot of resources here for you. If you go to westernlibertynetwork.org, it'll redirect you to this page. And what you see at the top is what we're working on now, and that is our 16th annual conference, which will take place on January 31st, 2026. We are partnering with Turning Point USA. They are sending a speaker, the head of their high school organization, Austin Erickson, who will be coming in from California. Americans for Prosperity is working with us, Parents' Rights and Education, and we're also looking to work with Freedom Foundation on this. If you scroll down a little more, oh, by the way, if you want to register for that, you can register now. You can get a sponsorship, and you can download the agenda. If you scroll down a little more, you'll talk about the trainings that we're doing. This is today's training that's featured. It's the second story in the website, and you click on with Zoom, which a number of you did. And so there are a lot of other resources you can go through, speeches, PowerPoint presentations on a variety of topics that can give you all kinds of skills that you need to be successful in politics where you live. If you want to learn more, you can go to the training tab. The training tab offers a lot of free resources. The first part here talks about the scope of training that's available, companion training documents. Every one of these covers a different subject. Like, for example, how to raise money in meetings with individual donors. Click on that. You'll be brought to a document that you can download or view. All of these documents are meant to be, I have to let some people in here. Admit. All of these stand on their own. They're meant to be provided with a live training session, but they all stand on their own, and you can use them as you like. Going down further, you'll see videos, and these are the Saturday training sessions that we do. The training session we're doing right now will be placed at the top of this list above the wonderful picture of Ed Deal there, and you can download videos going back 2.5 years. So it's fantastic. Between these training documents and the videos and the materials that are on the homepage, you can literally design your own personal curriculum. If you want to support Western Liberty Network with tax-deductible contribution, you can either buy a ticket to our conference on January 31st, or you can go to the support WLN tag and you can make a recurring or a one-time contribution. This is about building farm teams so that we have citizen lobbyists, local nonpartisan public holders, and also volunteers for campaigns like this one that we provide training to. And it is all about reweaving the fabric of our political culture. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and introduce Nicole Kalk. Nicole Kalk was recruited by Ed Deal to be a part of the campaign, gathering signatures that would be used to refer the transportation taxes to the ballot. And so with no further ado, I'm going to find Nicole. Here she is. And I'm going to give her host privileges. And with that, Nicole, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm going to get my PowerPoint up. Give me just a second. Richard, can you still let people in because it's asking me?
Yes, I'm doing that right now, so don't worry about that. I'll take care of all of that.
Okay. So, hi everyone. So our goal today is pretty simple, and really it shouldn't take much of your time. When I was asked to do this, I know that these trainings are typically an hour long, so I was like, Richard, what if it's not an hour? Because this is gonna, it's gonna be pretty quick unless there's a lot of questions. Um, I want to help you understand the rules, your rights, and the best way to collect signatures for Oregon petitions. And whether you're here for the gas tax referendum or one of the other many statewide petitions that we have, the process is the same. And the better trained we are, the smoother it will go. So I do suggest that, and he showed it on his website, there is a training document for petition collecting here in Oregon. So that's a good document to download. In fact, most of the PowerPoint that I have today came from that. So it's good to have. And so Oregon is one of the few states that allows citizens to directly shape the laws through petitions. The petitions give us the power to put new laws before voters or challenge laws passed by the legislature. Our jobs as circulators is to protect that process and ensure every signature counts. Has anyone here collected signatures before? I'm assuming there might be some. And so this will just be a good refresher for those that have already done it. So since I am one of the volunteers for the gas tax referendum, I thought it was a good example to use. As many of you know, the legislature passed that new transportation tax package, which increases our gas and vehicle fees and the transit tax. This referendum itself, if we get enough signatures, isn't going to repeal that package, but it will pause it until voters can decide in the November 2026 election. So what we're really gathering is not opinions on the tax itself. It's about giving Oregonians the right to vote on it. And that should be a pretty easy message to share. So as a circulator, you're representing the petition process, not the political argument. So you always want to stay professional, calm, and courteous, even when someone disagrees. Your accuracy protects everyone's work. One small mistake, like a missing date or a pre-signed certification, can cause a signature or even the whole sheet to be rejected. So once you've collected the signatures, it's also really important to turn those sheets in. So make sure you're checking in with your coordinators for the petitions that you're working on, for who, when, and how to turn them in. Because the last thing you want is a bunch of petitions that are signed and they go nowhere. So these are some of the core rules that make every signature you collect, make sure that it's valid. They may look pretty simple, but these are exactly what the state checks first when they review the petition. So it's worth taking a moment to go over each one. And I use one of the current petitions that we have, which is the death tax, I believe, is this petition as the example. So the first rule being one circulator per sheet. So that means if your name is going to be on the certification at the bottom, you are the only person who can witness the signature on that page. You can't pass it to someone else, even for just a few signatures. And really, you should think of it like signing a legal document. You are the official witness for that page. And you must personally witness each signature. You need to be able to honestly certify that you saw each person sign. You don't have to memorize everyone's name that's on those 10 lines, but you should be confident that each signature is legitimate and witnessed by you.
Hey, Nicole, I'm going to interrupt
Mhm.
you for a second. We've got a couple of comments saying that your PowerPoint isn't showing. I'm able to see it. I'm guessing other people can see it, but a couple of people aren't. Um, I think that might be a result of uh, the Zoom program on individual computer tops. But I will tell you this. Um, yeah, if you're seeing somebody says Nance or Nanis says I'm not seeing it either. Everyone's seeing a calendar. I think the calendar that you're displaying is one of the slides. Is that correct?
Mm-mm, I don't have a calendar.
Because I'm seeing a calendar that says folders, October, OR to do. I think maybe you're sharing the wrong window. Because I see a picture saying October, for I am the Lord your God who takes hold of your right hand.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's my like lock screen.
Okay, so you might want to try again and share your PowerPoint and maybe quickly start over a little bit.
Okay.
These things happen. I think there we go. I talked
How about
about
now?
it's safe to err as human, but to really screw up requires a computer.
So you did everyone so start over?
I'm getting thumbs up, so go ahead and start over.
Okay.
While
Okay.
you're doing that, I am going to share the WLN training document you mentioned that people
Perfect.
can use or not as they see fit. And we have a new person coming in.
Well, good. I get to start from the beginning with us.
Yep.
All right. So back to why petitions matter. Um, Oregon is one of the few states that allows citizens to directly shape the laws through petitions. Petitions give us the power to put new laws before voters or challenge laws passed by the legislature. Our job as circulators is to protect that process and ensure every signature counts. And since I was asked because I volunteer for the gas tax referendum, this was my example. The legislature passed a new transportation tax package that will increase gas vehicle fees and the transit tax. The referendum by itself, if we gather enough signatures, isn't going to repeal that, but it will pause it until voters get to decide in the November 2026 election. So what we're really gathering is not opinions on the tax itself. It's more about giving the Oregonians the right to vote on it, which should be a pretty easy message to share. And as a circulator, you're representing the petition process, not the political argument. So you should always stay professional, calm, and courteous, even when someone disagrees. Your accuracy protects everyone's work. One small mistake, like a missing date or a pre-signed certification, can cause a signature or even the whole sheet to be rejected. Once you've collected the signatures, it's really important to turn those sheets in. The last thing you want is a bunch of sheets with people's signatures that go unused. So make sure you're checking with the coordinator for the petition on when, who, and how to turn that in. And these are the rules that make sure every signature you collect is valid. And they are pretty simple, but these are exactly what the state will check first when they review the petition. So it's worth taking a moment to go over each one. One circulator per sheet. That means if your name is on the certification at the bottom, you are going to be the only person who can witness the signatures on that page. You can't pass it to someone else, even for just a few signatures. And you should think of it like signing a legal document. You're the official witness for that page. You must personally witness each signature. You need to be able to honestly certify that you saw each person sign. You don't have to memorize all names on that 10 lines, but you should be confident that each signature is legitimate and witnessed by you. The signers are going to fill in their own name, address, and date. They may ask you to fill it out, and you absolutely cannot do that for them. So that's a no. Do remind them that their writing should be legible. And before they walk away, you want to check and make sure that it's all filled out. And never leave a petition unattended. This is one that can get some people in trouble. You can't leave a clipboard on a table or a counter, even if it's just for a minute while you step away. The state considers that unattended circulation, and any signatures gathered that way could be thrown out. So always make sure your petition is in your eyesight at all times. And use only official statewide approved petition forms. Some people try to be helpful and make their own copies or adjust the layout, but if it's not the exact approved version, those signatures will be rejected. Some petition campaigns may allow you to directly download the petition. So if you are going to do that, make sure that they're printed correctly. And if you're ever unsure on what those requirements are, just check with your petition captain. And then this is the bottom of the petition sheet. That's going to be where you sign it. And sorry, I lost it on my end. So for yourself, you're going to make sure that you use the same signature you use when you're signing your ballot or when you register to vote, because that's how the state can verify it's really you. And then never pre-sign that. Once you sign it, that means all the signatures on that page, that's the end. You can't add more to it after you've already signed it. And then that sheet number, you want to leave that blank. That's going to be filled in by the campaign when they submit it. So if anything's done here that's incorrect, that could be a reason the whole sheet is thrown out. Some common mistakes, obviously forgetting to sign your certification, letting someone else fill in voter info, leaving your petitions unattended, and using photocopies or damaged sheets. The best habit is to review each page before you turn it in, and turn it in as frequently as you can, once a week. You know, have a set schedule of when you're going to turn that in. And then let's talk about setting yourself up for success in the field. You want to bring extra pens, blue or black ink only. Secure your sheets with rubber bands, especially if you're outside, and only have one sheet on your clipboard at a time. Not only does it keep it tidy and organized, but if anyone comes up with bad intentions, they don't have access to all the completed sheets. And always have a copy of the petition text with you. It's the law, number one. And oftentimes it's printed double-sided on that petition, but it's good to have it just separate so you don't have to flip over the signing sheet. So you have a constitutional right to gather signatures in Oregon, and it does come with some responsibilities. You can petition on public property open to foot traffic like sidewalks and parks. On private property, obviously you're going to need the owner's permission. Don't block entrances or interfere with others' access. And if you're challenged, just stay calm, call your coordinator, don't argue. And this one's very important. Remember, you are a volunteer. Don't accept money or gifts for your work, because these are all, unless specifically marked, these are all voluntary. We can't get paid in any way. So making the ask, this is where everyone gets nervous, but it's really easier than you think. Just be yourself, be friendly. A good starting point to ask is, did you receive a ballot for the last election? Because if they say no, then they're probably not an active voter. And this also would give you an opportunity to show them how to check online to see their status at Oregon My Vote. You should know your talking points. If the campaign didn't give you a talking point sheet, then make one yourself. And on reasons why voters should sign this petition. I myself like to have facts and myths that I hear about each petition, which can come in handy when you're fighting misinformation. And really just keep it short, simple, and positive. Speaking of myths versus facts, I put some up here so we can clear up some common misconceptions. So if someone signs twice, the whole sheet is thrown out. That is a myth. Only the duplicate signature would be invalid. Only registered Republicans or Democrats can vote on any one. particular petition. And again, that isn't true. Any registered active voter is able to sign a petition. Signers must use the same ink color or perfect handwriting. There's no specific ink color. Blue or black will be fine. I wouldn't use any other than those two. Absolutely no pencils. That would not work. And petitions must be county specific. Well, if it's a county specific petition or a local issue, then yes, that would be correct. But like the tax referendum, that's going to be a statewide petition. So as long as they're an active voter in Oregon, they will be able to sign that petition no matter which county they're in. And if a signer fills out their address wrong, the whole sheet isn't valid. And no, just like the duplicate signature, only that individual signature may be rejected. And then the current petitions, I went and looked to see what we had going on. We have the no tax one. Obviously, we're waiting on the governor to finish her job and sign the bill. So that one's not ready, but it will be soon. If you want to sign up, if you haven't already, go to notaxor.com and sign up, and then we will assign you a petition captain for your area. And then we have the vote before tolls. There's a website on that if you want some more information. Move Oregon's primary, the Oregon Crime Fighting Act, and the death tax. I didn't see websites on those. And then the let us paddle. And that's all I have. I'm ready for questions.
I have a few things I'd like to add if you don't mind, Nicole.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I don't need the slideshow.
Oh, I
People
could
will
put it back
come
up.
up. There are things you can do to increase your accuracy rate. What they're going to do when the day comes that all these signatures have to be turned in, they're not going to look at every individual signature. They're going to take a sampling of all the signatures. They might take like a 3-inch stack of the sheets that they have, and they will go through those and do a statistical sampling. And what they might do is for every duplicate signature they find, they might deduct like 400 signatures. For every wrong one they find, they might deduct, they do a statistical sampling on the assumption that however many errors they get of different kinds in the sample, that they extrapolate that to be in the number of errors in the whole submission. And if the signature drive is short, they'll do another sample. And if that signature drive is short, then they say we failed. So what's really important is to minimize the number of errors on your sheet. And there are some things you can do to reduce those errors. For example, if you find a signature that is obviously wrong, and I stress obviously wrong, like maybe they're from Idaho, or maybe they sign it Mickey Mouse or Adolf Hitler. People will do that if they want in an attempt to spoil your petition. What you can do is draw a single line through that whole line, and it will not be considered for validation. Now, we don't like people to do this because many signature lines with errors can be repaired, but use this tactic if you see a signature that is obviously wrong. If there is a signature that might have other kinds of defects, for example, some people put the wrong date or the wrong year, or they'll have some other kind of error with their sheet. They might have an address and have the wrong county. A lot of these things sometimes happen, and it's easy to miss, especially if you're busy and you might witness the signature, but you're not paying real close attention. So you can say you witnessed the signature, but maybe you miss some other errors. What I recommend in those cases is to put the sheet aside, put a yellow post-it note on that sheet, which says the line and what you think the error is, okay? And then send it to the campaign to be repaired. Don't certify it at that point. because when you sign the certification line, you're attesting that you witnessed all of the signatures and that you believe, to the best of your knowledge, that all of it's accurate. So if you see obvious errors on the sheet, you can't testify to that. But the campaign has access to lawyers who can go through these errors and they can be fixed in many cases. And then they will get the sheets back to you and you can certify them. What this does is this reduces a lot of errors that would result in the disqualification of many, many signatures. So if someone signs it and they've got the wrong year, like maybe they say, November 15th, 2024, okay? Don't fix it yourself. Put a yellow post-it note on it with what you think the error is. Don't sign it. Set it aside. And then give it to the, whoever you're coordinating with in the campaign so they can fix the error, and then they'll send it back to you so you can sign it. That will solve a lot of problems. Also, as Nicole said, once you sign that form, even if there are blank lines left, don't add any more signatures to it. You're done at that point. Somebody says, do we draw a line through the blank lines? Somebody else answered, no, that is correct. If there are blank lines when you've certified the sheet, don't do anything with them. You don't have to fill the whole sheet out to turn it in. You can have one signature on a 10-line sheet and you can still certify it. But once you've certified it, you can't add any more signatures to that petition. As Nicole said, always have a copy of it with you. There will be people who try to trick you. We had this happen before. Liberals who try to spoil sheets will try to trick you. They might say things like, I'm not sure if I signed this sheet before. If I have signed it, can I sign it again? And as Nicole said, the answer is no. You cannot sign an initiative petition more than once. If you are circulating signatures yourself, you can sign it yourself. And you can sign it yourself and you can certify the sheet, but that is all you can do. Don't mark the sheet in any other way. If a signer, I got a question here. If a signer begins and is frustrated that they signed wrong address or whatnot, is it best for them to cross out and fix the error, or just to cross their whole line out and start over? Um, Suggest the form come with the year 2025. Well, we can't do that. But if somebody signs it and makes a mistake, can they cross it out and fix the error? Nicole, you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe the answer is yes. They can cross out that line.
Mhm.
Then they can sign below it,
Mhm.
or on the next line or the next sheet. Getting back to what I was saying before, if someone asks, I'm not sure if I signed it or not, what can I do? What I would do in that instance is I would get a fresh sheet. I would get a fresh sheet, and the person who is not sure, have them sign it, don't certify it, and set it aside. And so when the campaign scans all the signatures, they will see if that is a duplicate signature. If it is a duplicate signature, that sheet will be discarded. If it is not a duplicate signature, you will be asked to certify it, and then it will be added to the list. These are little things that can trip up a campaign and disqualify a lot of signatures. So make sure that your volunteer time is not wasted and that all the signatures you gather will be properly counted. Those are just a couple of things that I had to add to this. Nicole's done a fantastic job here. We've got another question. Maybe keep a fresh sheet on an extra clipboard. Also include, in case you get a weird vibe. That's always smart. Some folks have a PO box in addition to their residence. What address do they use? You use the address that you're registered to vote at.
Mhm.
That is what you're supposed to be using. Also, just as a practical matter, if you go out collecting with people, bring a backpack. Do not bring an umbrella because you're going to need your hands free. Wear a poncho. If it's going to rain, check the weather. Make sure you have good shoes. I've seen people go out in high heels thinking they were going to collect signatures. In your backpack, put a sandwich. If people start collecting signatures, if they take a break, usually they don't come back, right? So if they say, I'm hungry, there's a McDonald's right over there. Let's go grab a bite. No. If they go to McDonald's, they probably won't come back. So have a sandwich and an extra sandwich in your backpack. Same with water. Make sure your shoes are appropriate for the weather. Make sure your cell phone is charged. Some people say, oh, I gotta call my kids. And so if they go home to get their phone, generally they won't come back. Make sure that everyone has a charged cell phone on hand. Also, clipboards. Personally, everyone does what's best for them. Personally, I hate the clipboards with the big clip on the end. Okay, because if you carry one or two or three of those, it can get really ungainly with the clip if you're carrying things. So what I like is a flat board with a petition on one side that has rubber bands, like Nicole suggested, around both ends, so you can carry two, three, four of them. And on the other side, have a copy of the law. So if someone asked to read the law, you have it available to hand to them. It's good to have two or three clipboards because sometimes people will ask to read the law and they don't really care. They just want to take your time away. So if you have a second board while they're reading the law, you can still collect signatures. You're not frozen while they're doing that. Those are a few additional tips. We did a lot of this a long time ago with a ballot measure 30 and 28 stuff, but all of this is fantastic. I'm going to turn this back over to Nicole. She's got a question. Becky Kleiwer raised her hand.
Yes, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. So this is more of a specific question for what's been happening at the Deschutes Republican office. People, so what should I do? I walk in to to do my volunteer time that day, and the ballot and the petition sheets are laying out there. Maybe they have 2 or 3 lines on them, and that's it. So should I be laying those aside and making a note on them for the person who was there the day before me to come in and certify them?
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
That's their sheet. So you'll need a new one.
okay, okay. So what should I do? I've already made a mistake with that. I have gone ahead and lined it out and certified it myself. So that makes it invalid to be as far as integrity goes. So I'm a little concerned about that.
Hmm. Maybe you can reach, is it just a couple of people that signed? Because you could reach out to them and see if they come back in.
Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know how I would do that without a phone number,
Nation
but
Builder.
Nation Builder.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe I
Should give
can,
you the phone number.
okay. Maybe you can email
I'll
me how
help
to
you.
do that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Well, and
Nicole is
here's
the
the thing. The people that leave the day before, they need to certify those petitions,
Yes.
and I don't think that's being communicated very well.
Well, I see the
So,
chair of the Deschutes Republican Party's on this call, so
so anyway,
maybe he
Keith,
get.
yeah, I knew you'd hear my question, Keith. So, okay, thank you.
I think Keith has a question as well. Keith, do you have a question as well? I saw somebody else with a hand up, but maybe they lowered it.
I think he gave a thumbs up.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I gave a thumbs up for that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and Becky, we're going to run a training before we start the referendum signature collections, so, the signature gathering for the referendum.
Yep. Yes, you have to personally witness every single signature that is on the sheet that you are carrying. Nobody else can certify it except for you. And once you have certified it, no signatures can be added to that sheet. And it's okay if you don't fill out every line on the signature sheet. Are there any other questions for Nicole? I think Jeanette has one. She's waving
Yeah.
her hand.
But if this may have been answered, Nicole, when you ask for our certification address at the bottom, is it post office box or physical address? But I think that it was answered as whatever we are registered to vote under. So
Correct.
I'll have to go. I recently have changed mine, so I'll have to go look and see what I put down.
Mhm. You got to be careful. Some people try to be real creative with their signatures. Like there was a signature gatherer I worked with once whose name was Christy, and her name had an I in it, it's KRI. And sometimes on the sheets, she would dot the I. Sometimes she would make a star over the I. Sometimes she would make a happy face over the I. And a very delightful person and meant all the best in the world. But the Secretary of State can use that difference to disqualify signatures. And if you disqualify a certified line at the bottom, that can jeopardize the entire sheet. So make sure that you recall or check the signature that they have on hand for you at the county office where you're registered, and make sure you do your best to sign it exactly the same way every time. I
I
think
like to
Becky has
say the
another
last way
question.
you signed your ballot
Yes.
should work.
Yep. Nicole, I think Becky has another question for you.
Yes, Becky.
So the other day when I was in the office, I had a couple people come in and asked if they could collect signatures. So what would you suggest we do in this situation like that?
Anyone that wants to volunteer is fabulous, but I wouldn't just hand them petition sheets and send them on their way. You want to make sure that they're trained. So maybe get a list going and you guys can then hold a training. It could be simple like this, just a Zoom, or refer them to this video because that will be out there. But yeah, you want to keep a pretty good record of who you're giving the petition sheets to,
Okay.
just for accountability and know what's out there and make sure that they're trained properly.
And just to
Okay.
remind you, if people want to view this video, they can go to westernlibertynetwork.org, go to the training tab, and scroll down until they see the video. And so
Okay.
they can look over this and do it at their own time. I don't suggest this as a substitute for any of the trainings that are done locally, like the Deschutes County Chair has said he's going to arrange a training. This is meant to augment those trainings, not substitute for them. Are there
Thank
any
you.
other questions?
Let me get the link to my vote. Someone was asking for it.
Yes. Can you put that in the chat
Yeah.
window?
There you go. And so that link will also tell you if they're active voters, their address, which party they're in. So it's a pretty good tool.
Somebody asked a question, is there a website in Oregon where you can check to see what address and name they have on their voter's precinct card?
That's what I just get, my vote.
That's what that is. Okay, yeah, very
Yeah.
good. I didn't know you could do that on my vote, so you've educated me. Jeanette has another question.
Will we be having, or can we have other petitions at the table besides just one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
All right, good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I will tell you that personally, I support this referenda tremendously, but I have to, for legal reasons, point out that WLN does not officially oppose or support any of these, but we do offer this as an example where you can apply these skills.
Yes.
Are there other questions? One from Chris Wagner.
Yeah, we had a little bit of training this morning for the effort down here in Cottage Grove. Anyway, question came up. If somebody's not registered, they could whip out their phone and register right there on their phone. to vote, and then they'd be registered. They'd get a time stamp of when they did that, and then they could sign the petition. Does that sound legitimate?
Hmm.
I don't know how you
I have,
verify a signature that way.
Yeah.
I like the way you say whip it, because when you whip out the phone, you've got to whip it. Whip it good.
Yeah.
I mean, is it instant? I've never registered to vote online before, so I don't, is it instant?
Well, the fella thought it does a time stamp of when they do this. Of course, that doesn't tell, there's no time on the signature line. It's just the date.
Hmm.
I've looked at that feature before. As I recall, it also asks you for a social security card or a driver's license. Um, I don't recall a place to offer a signature by mouse or light pen or anything like that. So my guess is that's pretty hard to do on a phone. So I think those are going to be outlier cases. What I would do in that case is go ahead and let them register on the phone. But then after that, if they believe they have registered correctly, have them sign the petition on a separate sheet
Yeah.
and set it aside and don't certify it until it's been approved by the campaign.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if that helps, but I think that's probably the best way to handle that situation. What do you think, Nicole?
Safest. Yeah, I think that's the safest way to do it.
I agree with you. Now, when we tried to recall Kate Brown on both of those recall efforts, we were signing people up to vote at the table on their phone or on our laptops. We would actually log them in and say, here, go ahead. And that seemed to be the way, the accepted way of doing that. But I don't know how that played out when it came to the inspection of these sheets, whether or not they were valid. We don't know that because we don't get to see the outcome of all that.
Mhm.
However, I think once a person is registered as a voter, they are a legal voter. So that's my 2 cents worth, but I don't know how that plays out in the inspection of these petitions. So
I don't know if they're regarded as a legal voter after they finish signing or after the county has processed their online form. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe Nicole does.
good point. Yeah.
But
I don't.
but in those cases, I would again, if they sign online with a computer or a phone or in any other way, I would have a stack of one line sheets or a stack of sheets and have them sign it on a separate sheet so the campaign can check it and they won't contaminate any other signatures in the statistical sampling that would later be done by the Secretary of State. Are there any other questions? Chris,
Yep.
go ahead.
We're talking about if somebody messes up their signature or address or something, and you just have them start over and just draw a line through it and have them start over.
Yep, you want to field that one, Nicole?
Say that again. I was answering a chat question.
Okay, somebody messes up their signature or something, their address. Would you just say, just draw a line through it and just have them start over on the next line down?
Yeah, you can do that. I think that's the simplest way to do it.
And then
I know
would somebody initial that? Would the signer initial that or the petitioner?
that would be the petitioner, or no, the signer. Sorry.
The signer would sign that or initial
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Are there other questions? Go ahead, Cindy. Cindy, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, so what's the website they can go to register to vote?
Oh, I put it up in the. Can I pin it?
Oops, I missed it.
Here, I'll put it up again.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'm going to send out the WLN training document as well to augment this in case people haven't seen it in the chat window already. It'll provide you with some reminders of some of the things that is here. Also, I don't know, do you want me to send the PDF of your
Yeah.
of your slideshow? Okay. Here is Nicole's slideshow. An excellent slideshow. I'm going to send it in PDF form. Let's see. I think I've got it here. Send. And again, I'll send, oh, I think I sent the wrong document for the WLN training petition. I'll send it here. And I think
I'm
we're all
putting my
good.
email address too, if anyone wants that.
Okay. And so are there any other questions before we call it a day? Chris has one.
Yeah, I've got a thought. Maybe we better review the procedure when they go up to a door and it has no soliciting on the door. I know you're not actually soliciting somehow, but
Sure.
and then no trespassing. I just don't go there.
Okay. Nicole, I can field that if that's all right.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. You are canvassing. You have a First Amendment right to do that. Now, if there is a no soliciting sign, you're not soliciting because that's defined legally. You're not asking for money. You're not asking for anything of value. All you're doing is canvassing. And most of the time, it's surprising. There'll be a no soliciting sign and nothing will happen. They'll answer the door and you'll say what you're doing and they'll simply decide to sign it or not sign it. But sometimes they will say, "Don't you see my no soliciting sign?" And in that case, what you do is you say, I'm very sorry, I'm not soliciting, I'm canvassing, which is different. But if you want me to, I'll leave immediately. I apologize for interrupting you. And sometimes they'll say, yeah, get out of here, but most of the time they'll say, all right, what you got? What are you doing here? And then you have a chance to do your thing and you've shown respect to them. So I recommend that. Now, if they say no trespassing, and it's on an individual residence, then don't go there. You can't do that. And occasionally a private individual residence will have a sign saying no canvassing, and stay away from that too. But one thing you can ignore is if there is an apartment complex or if there is an HOA or a gated community, it might say no soliciting and it might say no trespassing. In that instance, instead of an individual residence, you can still go in. They cannot stop you from canvassing. That is a First Amendment right. So if the apartment manager comes out or the HOA manager comes out, you can say, I have the legal right to do this because I'm a canvasser. I've got a sheet. If you go to the westernlibertynetwork.org website and go to the training tab, you can download a sheet on canvassing neighborhoods. And on that sheet, there are some Supreme Court cases that you can refer to. But most of the time, if you have someone that really creates a big issue for you, just leave. And you don't want to spend half your day fighting over that. Go someplace else, and then at a later time, have your coordinator or have you contact the management and go in. But most of the time, you're going to be fine. I hope that helps. Are there any other questions? Okay. I think that's it for today. Do you have anything else to say, Nicole?
No. Thank you everyone for coming.
Yep. Thank you so much. And I want to give
Thank you both for putting this on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And hey, don't forget to
Thank
sign up
you.
for the WLN conference at the westernlibertynetwork.org website. I got to put my plug in, but also I want to thank Nicole Kalk for her expertise. I want to thank Representative Deal for referring Nicole to us. And I want to thank all of you for agreeing to step up and secure, a better tax environment by knocking this sucker down. So stay tuned for future training opportunities, and God bless you all.
Okay.